Welcome to the big time, Commander. You haven't really arrived until Kane has sicked his media ninjas on you at least once. I'm pinch hitting for Shepard since no one's really sure where he is right now. It's the wrong time to take a vacation. We're down about 60% manpower from the T-poison. Now here's your objective. You got the Hyverian River running through here about 6 knots, okay? And here you got 9 bunkers. Here's what I need from you, pal. Take out the bunkers so I can get my convoy through at 0200. You might create a little guerrilla diversion along the way, just in case some of the Nazis don't get the message. Just enough to cover me until I get into range of their power base. Then all you have to do is sit back and watch the fireworks as my team shows them what kick-ass is really all about. Rider out.
Welcome back, Commander. So, is Carter, like, slowly going crazy? Like, clearly he's not right. Something's going on. And, obviously, it's the T-poison. But what is T-poison, really? Like, nothing is really ever gonna mention it, I don't think. And, like, clearly Carter was obviously under some effect, because even the briefing seemed, I don't want to say, like, weird, but it was just, like, off. Like, bunkers, they're not called bunkers. They're never called bunkers. He's referring to turrets.
Moving out. Yes, sir. Roger. Yes, sir. Reporting. Moving out. Roger. Roger. Reporting. Moving out. Yes, sir. You got it. Reporting. Roger. Reporting. Moving out.
In any case, we're given another one of these, like, split group type things. And again, that building was hiding Nod sympathizers. So don't stop looking. Look, there's a flare over on the left. Pay attention to that. It's important. I was kind of like, I don't want to say desperate, but really in need of, like, a good setup for my MCV. And I think I end up just, like, settling on, like, the initial position. Alright, show me those fireworks, Carter. Anytime, Carter. So, Carter knows, like, his boats are... He can turn those boats around, right? Like, I know it's a river, but, like, you can... Nope. Mate, do you want to try shooting gunboat? Anything? No? Just gonna sit there and take it on the chin? And I guess that's it for Carter. Carter wasn't on those boats, was he? I mean, he was a naval commander, or at least he always had the gunboats as his backup. I have questions. So yeah, we're up against Obelisks of Light now. Basically, like, this is kind of the point where it's like, alright, Nod clearly must not be messing around. This is important tech here. Yep, those Obelisks of Light. not the war crimes I'm committing. You know, is it really media that's the problem if I'm the one blowing up... I mean, if GDI is the one blowing up churches? Liberating the masses from religion? I don't know where the heck I can go with this, guys.
Of my secret weapon!
Mercy is for the weak.
Yeah, so this is kind of a bad idea. But since rocket soldiers outrange flamethrowers,
Mercy is for the weak.
you know, just gotta do that stutter stepping.
Mercy is
Oh, and I'm out of funds, and once again, kind of like stalled on what I can do. Go figure. But hey, on the plus side, Odd forces are trying to surround my base. Realistically, I should have just built like a guard tower. I don't know why I'm messing around with a medium tank, but I mean, it could be worse. Could have built that communication center. See, this is where it's like the AI is just like super terrible at doing like anything with rocket soldiers, but then gets weirdly competent and then just like messes you up.
Building.
Like, I almost lost that medium tank. I would have been really frustrated if I did.
Moving out. Yes, yes, sir. Waiting over. Affirmative.
Construction complete.
Yes, sir. Waiting over.
And because there's not much else I can really do with that Chinook, I might as well just, like,
Moving out.
use it to slowly scout a map.
Unit affirmative. Yes, sir. Moving out. Yes, sir. Moving out.
Hey, what the hell were you dropping there?
Unit acknowledged.
On hold. Cancelled. Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, affirmative. Yes, sir.
Construction complete. New construction.
Like, I want to know why the heck there was a second cargo plane up north that just suddenly happens to spawn 2 Nod buggies. Also, I'm not quite sure what Nod's like end game is. I don't get why they keep running guys like past my base.
Moving out. Moving out. Waiting or moving out. Moving. Acknowledge. Acknowledge. Moving
Also,
out.
I hate pathfinding sometimes.
Construction complete.
Yes, moving out. Acknowledge. Yes, moving out. Moving out. Unit moving out.
So yeah, as it turns out, I believe the AI was just like really hell-bent on killing that almost dead medium tank. So they just like went around the entire base to go after him. That, or it was just like a weird quirk of their waypoints and he just happened to be like a target of opportunity. I don't know.
Yes, moving out. Yes, moving out.
Would have probably made more sense if I just like left one infantry on this portion of the map and just like used him to scout, because it would have obviously been quicker, but
Moving out. Moving out. Affirmative.
whatever.
Unit reporting. Unit moving out. Vehicle reporting.
The sad part is that even though we're given a great unit like the Chinook,
Vehicle
honestly, you've got a air vehicle that can
Yes, sir.
carry 5 people
Moving out.
and can't pick up crates because that would be just like too good.
Our base is in
But
Affirmative. Yes, sir.
you're given this great unit, but I never feel like there's a good opportunity to use it. I mean, Nod always has, excuse me, they always have the SAM sites, so that's something that you always have to consider. And on top of that,
Yes, sir.
you got Obelisk of Light now, so you can't simply fly a Chinook, land it in the hopes that it only takes like 1 or 2 rockets from a SAM site,
building.
and then also expect it to get through an Obelisk of Light.
Waiting order.
Especially since, as we've seen in the Nod campaign, Obelisk of Light shoot a heck of a lot faster if it's taking out a small unit such as infantry or engineers. Oh, and apparently those 2 infantry, I guess, are like locked on to the Chinook, and that's why they keep running back and forth in the lower portion. Not quite sure. But yeah, it's there's like a perfect reason as to why you should always, and I mean always, scout maps.
Building.
If you didn't, you wouldn't find 2,000 free dollars. Although, truth be told, at this point I should have probably built the second refinery. This is just going slower than it really should.
Building.
I believe I'll try to rectify that soon, but it's still one of those things I should have done quicker.
Construction complete. Building. Building.
It's kind of interesting though that the GDI get an anti-infantry defensive building, and let's face it, the watchtower, guard tower, kind of really sucks. And Nod gets a turret, which is great against vehicles, but in either case, like Nod isn't particularly a infantry like faction. Sure, they've got flamethrowers and there's rocket soldiers, but rocket soldiers can, in very rare occurrences where the AI doesn't mess it up, can outrange guard towers, and flamethrowers are just good. They're not gonna win 1v1 or anything, but as a Nod player, you'd be foolish to attempt it in the first place.
Affirmative. Affirmative.
Also, the AI doesn't like chase after you in this instance, so I could have probably ran that guy like back and forth and never suffered anything.
Right away, sir.
But getting back to the defensive stuff, so again, GDI gets a
Ready and waiting.
anti-infantry building, but the only notable stuff, it's like, I don't know, you're just gonna supplement your army if you're Nod with a couple artillery or just like mass light tanks.
Moving out. Yes, sir.
And on the flip side, Nod gets a turret, which
Complete.
Waiting order.
frankly is better than the guard tower, because I mean, guard tower has a shorter range, turret has a further one, and the medium tank is a much larger threat than grenadiers, especially when you have flamethrowers on for your own defense. So it's kind of weird to look at the two.
Moving out. Moving out. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Acknowledge. Acknowledge.
I mean, even further on, like we'll end up seeing advanced guard towers, which from the Nod campaign aren't bad,
Affirmative. Yes, affirmative.
and they seem to be more consistent in their fire rate, which is obviously to be expected. And both seem to do just as well versus both infantry and tanks. The only real difference is that the Obelisk of Light will always hit, whereas the Advanced Guard Tower will always shoot more.
Yes, sir. Moving out. Moving out. Vehicle reporting. Moving out. Yes, sir. Vehicle reporting.
Like, I really should have built a second refinery. This one's on me, really.
Yes, sir.
Especially, like, the amount of times I've harped on, like, getting at least a second harvester. And I play this mission and don't? Come on.
Yes, knowledge. Unit affirmative. Yes, knowledge. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Knowledge. Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Unit affirmative. Yes, affirmative. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Moving out. Yes, sir. Moving out. Yes, affirmative. Reporting. Yes, right away, sir. Unit acknowledged. Vehicle reporting. Unit report. Moving out.
So that cost me a medium tank, but honestly, a harvester's more expensive anyways, so...
Yes, sir. Moving out.
I think this is another example of,
Affirmative.
On hold.
like, shouldn't we have airstrikes by now?
Yes, acknowledged.
Shouldn't I get to use them?
Acknowledged.
And the answer is no, because there's a SAM sites in the base. You can't,
Waiting.
like, what am I supposed to do against those?
Yes, affirmative. Yes, acknowledged.
Like, unless I've had, like, a really dumb moment and somehow, like, forgotten the airstrike that I unlocked a long time ago, but I can't hit that scroll down button to see.
Left on
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Moving out.
It's also interesting from a UI standpoint,
Moving out.
just, like, how limited
Unit, sir.
the options. Like, there's only 4 options for us, even in the enlarged resolution.
Unit, moving out.
So it kind of hampers, like,
Yes,
building certain things really quickly.
unit, affirmative.
Or, like, if you want to go between rocket soldiers and, say, medium tanks, you kind of always have to be scrolling up and down.
unit ready.
Waiting order.
Building.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Waiting orders. Reporting. Yes, sir. Reporting. Roger. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Unit moving out. Moving out. Yes, sir. Moving out. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
So the infantry's only point is going to be to go after these turrets because,
Reporting.
frankly, the medium tanks, even though I've got 5 of them, which is pretty good,
Yes, sir.
Unit.
Especially against the AI, the issue is that there's a bridge, which is just going to be killer.
Building.
The choke point just
Reporting. Affirmative.
makes a mess of things.
Yes, sir. Yes, knowledge. Affirmative. Affirmative.
I also probably shouldn't have attacked the harvester because,
Knowledge.
as is typical of the AI and how it responds to that sort of thing, it's just going to send everything out.
Affirmative.
Mind you, I can do silly stuff like just get somebody on the bridge and block it.
Yes, sir. Yes, ready and wait. Roger. Unit moving out. Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Yes,
Somehow I missed that guy on the bridge.
reporting.
That's like not supposed to happen.
Moving out. Yes, sir.
Unit lost.
Acknowledge.
Unit
Acknowledge.
lost.
Waiting order. Yes, sir.
And yeah, I lost a medium tank to a flamethrower.
Acknowledge. Moving out. Yes, moving out.
This is what happens with like the inherent like inaccuracy of certain weapons.
Moving out. Ready and wait. Reporting out. You got it. Unit affirmative. Yes, yes, yes. Moving out. Waiting order. You got it. Waiting order. Yes, ready and wait. Right away, sir. Right away, sir. Ready and wait. Moving out. Yes. No problem. Acknowledge. Acknowledge.
What is your mission?
Yes. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Acknowledge.
got me rethinking about the briefing with Kane, and it's interesting that he uses, like, he mentions stuff like, "Oh, your pet is here, Commander." So, like, is Carter our pet? Are we the pet of Shepard? Is Kane transmitting this to Shepard and we're just seeing it from his point of view? There's something going on here. And this is sort of why, like, if you have a small force, like I did, you shouldn't go after harvesters. Like, unless your plan is just to destroy the harvester and get away, and you have, you know, at least, like, the map to help you out with it. Kind of screwed myself over of a very good army.
Are we ready? Now, what is your mission?
Yes, sir.
We will stop them now! Are we ready?
Building.
Unit report knowledge. Yes, sir. Moving out. Moving out. Waiting order.
Probably just should have sold, like, a watchtower. Guard tower. Guard tower. Always saying watchtower. I think it's like years of Age of Empires is just messing with me now.
Unit, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Moving out. Moving out. Yes, sir. Knowledge.
Construction complete. Cannot deploy here. Cannot deploy here.
It's not good. It doesn't look
Yes,
good.
sir. Affirmative.
I can't control it.
Building on hold.
It's not
Cancelled.
good. It doesn't look good. I'm losing control. I can't control it.
Waiting. Moving out. Acknowledge. Moving out. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, vehicle priority. Yes, moving out. Moving out. Moving out. Acknowledge. 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 Yes, sir.
Construction complete. Building.
Waiting order. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Moving out. Yes, sir. Moving out. Unit report.
Unit
Moving out.
ready. Building.
Yes, sir. Reporting. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Ready and waiting. Right away, sir.
Building.
Yes, sir.
Perhaps you need another shot.
So I don't know if it's a limitation on how much money Nod has. And
Unit waiting.
that also reminds me, like, for whatever reason, they really wanted, like, GDI personnel was really devoted to the idea of calling them Noddies.
Unit report. Acknowledge.
Building.
Yes, moving out.
But
Acknowledge. Vehicle report.
I'm gonna be trying to go with another slam dunk,
Moving out.
get an APC, load it up with just enough units to capture a base,
Yes,
or at least like start capturing, and then just like shift production over.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Like, it's gotta work.
Moving out. Yes, sir. Moving out. Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Moving out. Acknowledge. Moving out. Moving out. Moving out.
And bingo.
Moving out. Waiting order. Acknowledge.
I really don't know what it is. Like, I guess there's just like no money for, or like the AI just didn't want to build like more vehicles or something. But it just feels like something went wrong rather than right.
Not building. Captured. Our
Now, normally I'd personally just go for the harvester because it's just less of a hassle to deal with, but whatever.
Building.
Like, realistically, I should have probably just used that engineer for a silo and then gone from there. But hey, we get flame tanks, so that's always a plus. Also, somehow the turret's like aim is like the aim point on the Hand of Nod is high enough that it decided to go and shoot the wall instead of the building itself for a little bit,
Building. Reinforcement.
which I think is like pretty interesting, all things said and done.
Plot building captured. Construction complete. Unit ready. Unit lost. Building. Reinforcements have arrived. Unit ready. Unit lost. Building. Plot building captured. Unit ready. Building. Plot building captured. Unit ready.
Now, the only real danger here now is the Obelisk of Light, simply because I don't have any way of like effectively taking out its power.
Plot building captured. Building. Unit ready. Unit lost.
Now, in normal circumstances, it probably would have been smarter to leave the Hand of Nod, because it's not like the AI has a lot of money, and the units it'll produce isn't like that big a deal,
Plot building captured.
but also because it's a drain on power,
Building.
and the one thing we want to try and do is
Construction.
eliminate all power, and there's only one bank of things available to targets, so... So unlucky there. I was so close to not losing that guard tower.
Yes, sir.
Construction
Moving
complete.
out. Moving out.
Building.
Yes, sir. Moving out.
Construction complete. Reinforcements have arrived.
So boy, I bet you expected me to show off the artillery in proper fashion in the Nod campaign. Well, not happening.
Moving out.
It's a GDI unit now.
Moving out. Yes, sir.
Reinforcements have arrived.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Construction complete.
Unit reporting. Awaiting orders.
Man, sometimes artillery is just like really good. 4 shots for a power plant,
Arrived.
Yes, sir. Unit
that's
moving out.
like really strong.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Unfortunately, sometimes you have aim that is completely off and won't get rectified for a little bit.
Yes, sir.
And then it's more like 8 shots.
Yes, sir. Moving out. Moving out.
Building.
Yes, sir.
Oh, and I hope you like an APC shooting at a SAM site.
Moving out.
It's not necessarily that I forget about it, it's more of I don't want the APC fighting turrets. Gotta think of my end score after all, right? Right? It's also really annoying that the mission design here decided to put a SAM site in that particular corner. Like, medium tanks aren't bad for taking out SAM sites or anything, but I mean, flame tanks are better. And flame tanks can't destroy concrete walls, which means that something needs to help them, or I would just have to build more medium tanks to do it quickly. which isn't going to happen. So, I also figure, hey, let's do like a kind of race. 2 artillery versus 2 medium tanks and a flame tank.
Human forces have arrived.
And it's kind of clear which one's going to win. The repair also doesn't help. I guess what I'm trying to say is that artillery, yes, is good. As some people have pointed out, it's got its uses. But if it doesn't hit properly, it's kind of garbage. Like, I'm gonna lose 2 fights with those 2 artillery. So I figure, master plan. What if I bring my Chinook, which I'm not using anyways, to draw out the SAM site so that it takes more damage? I mean, it would have helped if the artillery had hit. Can't win them all, I guess. And I don't know what's going on with the pathfinding. The flame tank is just, like, really against the idea of moving up to that SAM site. So that probably cost me like a minute for no reason.
Yes, sir. Vehicle ready. Yes, sir.
Yeah, 2 artillery pieces. Just kind of working their way.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So lesson here is don't use artillery against SAM sites, and use them sparingly.